I've decluttered most of my kids' toys. I got 4 children and a dog. 2 are teenagers that are grown up now, so I got 2 teenage boys. And I've also got 8-year-old twins, but they've only just turned 8. And I decluttered their toys for a few different reasons, which I'll cover in this video. I'll also let you know the outcomes of decluttering their toys, how it's benefited myself and my children as well, and also my home, my finances and all sorts. So let's get stuck straight into this video. Before we do, please give this a like if you enjoy this video. Something I've been doing for years since my boys were little and my eldest one is only 20 is I'll have a good declutter of their toys, books and board games just before Christmas, and I usually start doing this in September, so it gives me a while to get decluttering. It also gives me a while to sell these things on or donate them if I want to as well. And I've recently made about £300 selling their toys on Vinted, which is going towards a holiday for next year now. It's also helped to pay for Christmas as well because I've been buying some board games from Vinted, and I've also bought some secondhand toys as well, but not much. Honestly, it's only a few things. So I've decluttered most of their toys, and that is because they don't really play with toys much anymore. And when they do, they're very selective over what they play with as well. I see massive benefits for my children and myself and my home if there are less toys in this house. Honestly, you kids don't need loads of toys anyway. They've got their imagination that they can use. If you've ever watched your child play outside, they won't play with toys. They'll find open spaces to run around, or they'll find a tree to climb in, or they'll get a stick and they'll turn that into all sorts. Honestly, they don't need toys to have fun and be entertained. And this has taken me a while to realise this because obviously I've been a mum for nearly 20 years and I've been a right shopaholic when it comes to toys, especially during 2020 because we all know that that was the year when it felt like we were at home forever. And I was a massive Amazon shopper during that time. My twins were only 3 at the time, so I just got an insane amount of toys. A lot of these toys were well loved, and I've only recently got rid of their favourite ones now. But most of these toys I got rid of because they just were stuck not being played with, and my kids didn't favour them. They didn't find them entertaining enough. And like I said, they've got their imagination. So a lot of the time I was finding my little girls wanted to get the cushions out and use them as stepping stones, or get their teddy bears out and set up shop. So what I've been doing with their toys is going through their toy boxes one by one. So I'll take 5 to 10 minutes, maybe up to 15 minutes, and I'll just declutter one box at a time. You don't have to go wild with this. I know how time consuming and overwhelming decluttering toys can be, especially if your children are around, but it really doesn't have to be. What I do recommend is spending small chunks of time decluttering. If you've got organisation in your toys as well, declutter by category. So for instance, I recently went through my little girls' Barbies because I know they're not playing with their Barbies much anymore. So I got rid of quite a few Barbies and I only kept their favourites. I also went through their books because they've outgrown loads of books now that they're a little bit older. I also went through their horses box as well. So it is easier if you've got toys grouped together, but don't worry if you haven't. Just grab a box and just go through one box at a time. Tip it all out on the floor and spend time just picking out their favourite toys, the ones that you know they go to, the ones that you know they get lots of enjoyment from, and you know the ones that they'll ask for if you get rid of them. And you know as a parent what your child favours over everything else. This is how I declutter their toys now. So I'll just pick out their absolute favourites and I'll just keep those ones and then just look on the floor what's left and I'll just get rid of it. But what I do suggest is having some boxes to throw things into, so this will make decluttering so much easier for you. I like to get a couple of baskets, and one basket I'll use for donating, so that could be donating to a friend or family member or to charity. And then I'll have a box for selling because I sell lots on Vinted and also Facebook Marketplace. Then I'll have a box for bin because surprisingly what you'll probably come across lots of little plastic things that can just go in the bin. Honestly, they don't need all these tiny little accessories to things, just get rid of them. But if you are going to sell things, keep those little accessories to go with the toy that you're selling, because that'll help you sell it better. Also have a box for maybe as well. So if you're a little bit unsure about something, chuck it in the maybe box and then sort that out later on. And I would recommend doing this when your kids are not around. If your kids are the type of children that can help you and they can make decisions and they can give away things, and that is fine, get them involved. But my kids are not like that. They just want to keep everything. And chances are, if I pick something up that they haven't played with for 6 months, they will just tell me that they always play with that and it's their favourite thing ever, and you know that's not true. So I always do this when my kids are not around, and I've got rid of an insane amount of things that they haven't even asked for. If there are certain toys that you think, do you know, if I get rid of this, they might ask for it a bit further down the line, put it in a maybe box, put a lid on it, and then put it somewhere out of the way. And then if they don't ask for that toy within 6 months, get rid of it. It is a good indicator of what you can get rid of and what you should keep as well. But what I've noticed with less toys in this house is I've got less to tidy away, and so have my kids. And I was getting fed up of picking up their toys. So that's why I started decluttering. I'm also finding that they can find their toys so much better now that they've got less toys to play with, because they're not having to rummage through a box for certain things. They can literally just go to their horses box, pull their horses box out, and then they've got their absolute favourite horses in there. They don't do what they've always done and chuck all the horses on the floor, pick out their favourites, and then leave all the other horses on the floor and not play with them. And then they end up getting picked up by me. And honestly, it just saves me so much time and energy. I've also noticed that my girls play so much better now with less toys as well, because they've just got less decisions to make, if that makes sense. I also find it so much easier for storage as well, because we've got these Kallax cubes in the games room. So this is a spare living room that I call the games room, and it's also a toy room as well. But it just looks so stylish because the toys are tucked up out of the way. I can't really see the toys, so it looks like an adult living space. But then these boxes are not over crammed, so my little girls can just take a box, take it into the living room if they want to play in the living room. Then they're not chucking loads of toys all over the floor because they've got so much less toys to play with now. That's why I decluttered a lot of their toys, because I just didn't see the point in toys that just weren't getting played with, sitting around, collecting dust, me having to pick them up. And then also I could sell those toys on and use that money towards things like clothes for my little girls, day trips, and a holiday as well. So that money is just going to go to better use, and it's not just going to sit around in little toys that just don't get played with, which is such a shame, when they can go on to a good home where a child can love them and use them. So if you're wondering where to start in the first place with decluttering your kids' toys, I would start with going through one shelf or cupboard or box or drawer at a time. It all depends on how you organise your children's toys. Start with one room. So for instance, start with your child's bedroom and just go through one box at a time. I would definitely just tip one box on the floor, go through that one box and chuck the things that you're getting rid of into the certain boxes, and then get another box. You know, once you get the ball rolling and you start, chances are you're not going to want to stop. So you don't need to dedicate an hour or a whole day to decluttering. If you only have the energy to do decluttering for 5 to 10 minutes, then just do decluttering for that time and then stop. But sometimes, and a lot of the time for me, is once I get started, I don't want to stop and I want to keep going. So just get the ball rolling, and then you can move on to the next box, tip that box out on the floor, pick out their favourites, and then whatever is left, start getting rid of it. And honestly, this will help you to make decisions fast doing it like this. And just know that decluttering your children's toys is going to take time, so you don't have to do this all in one day, like I said. So if you want to get started, start today. Start in the evening, do it for 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need loads of energy, like I said. And if you're wondering how I get rid of my kids' toys, I'll start with those baskets that I've mentioned. And then if I'm going to sell something, I will take pictures of those things, and I'll do this at a later time. I don't usually do it on the same day as my decluttering. So I will take pictures once that basket has become full, and then I'll go and store them in a clear box with a lid, and this goes into my garage, so it's out of the way. I'm not having to look at it. But I've got these selling on Vinted and also Facebook Marketplace. So once I sell something, I'll go and get that out of the box and then send it off. And it is surprising how quick these things sell on Vinted as well. I love Vinted. Honestly, I rave about it so much on this channel because I've made nearly £3,000 on Vinted in the last year and a half. Then I'll bag stuff up for donation. So I'll either decide whether to give it to a friend or a family member, or I'll put it in a bag for the charity shop. And then I'll go and put that in my garage as well. So once I've got a few bags mounted up, then I'll take a couple of bags at the same time. But if you haven't got much storage, you can always go and do that the next day or on the weekend or when you've got some spare time. And then with the stuff that goes into the maybe box, I will put that into a basket or a box and I'll put it somewhere out of the way. For instance, at the top of my wardrobe so I don't have to look at it. And then if my child doesn't come to me within 3 to 6 months, I will just donate that thing or I'll sell it on. It all depends on how sellable it is. A really good incentive for decluttering children's toys is to either sell things on or give them away to someone that you know is going to use them. It's nice to get kids involved because they can decide whether they want to give their toy to someone that needs it more than them, which is a really good way to show them how to give to people. Those are the two biggest incentives for me because I will look at a toy and think, I think that's sellable. I can actually get £20 for that and then I can put it towards a holiday next year. And that's how I've been getting rid of my children's toys because I would rather make the money on that toy rather than it sit around and do nothing. I just think it's such a waste of that toy. Then it could get played with. And I've also got friends who've got children that could get the use out of these toys as well. The third biggest incentive is that myself and my kids don't have to spend so much time picking up toys because they've got so much less toys now as well. And that is a huge one for us. I hope you got some enjoyment out of this video. Please give it a like if you did. Let me know in the comments box below how you're doing decluttering your children's toys. I'd love to hear from you because I'm always trying to get ideas myself as well. And if you want to learn more about decluttering, organising and minimalism, I've made lots of videos on this channel, including a decluttering challenge playlist. So I will leave the playlist in my description. Have a lovely rest of your day and I'll see you soon. Bye.